conspiracy theories, tomorrow's headlines. Most are still asleep and I ain't talking about no bedtime. The truth is not a Google search, you need to get your head right. The Greek goddess of illusion was called Media, and I'm not a coincidence theorist, I look for thread lines. Smashing every deadline, no longer smashing red wine. Though I can hear the bells chime, it feels like the end times. That probably should have been smashed on red wine, but the carnal mind is foolish. Obey and end up ghoulish. Don't get used by instinct, take control and learn to use it. Make a load of earnest music, earn a few quid, learn a few tricks. Sure, the truth is persecuted, this whole world is pure abusive. Know a bit about everything and everything about nothing. Figured out my noggin while you picture out shopping. You sit about watching while I dish it out, stop it. I don't mean to sound cocky, I'm not even proud of it. It's a second nature to me, just to be this out honest. I don't even need to sound honest, never been about profit. Everything but out on it, you can bet your house on it. Doubt I'll be out for the count when the sounds, and I'm down for the beat, no beat down. I mean, how long's it been? Help me out. I've been the only one who's held me down. All in the mind, hell freeze now. Still sick with it, hell see how. A few bars down and the world freaked out. I don't reach out, I seek out to speak out. I'ma recount the reasons they be out.
Hello. Welcome everybody to the 509 Divine Pines podcast. I am your host, Joseph Daniel Pena. It is 11/11/2025. Make a wish. Yes. Yeah, man. I don't know how to say it. I think that the numerology and all that is like in a kind of weird way. There's some truth to it because the universe is in rhythm and it provides patterns like that. I wouldn't say hold true to it, like worship it. That's just not what I'm doing. What I'm saying, man. It's just fun. Like, subscribe, and share, guys. Tell everybody around that this is going down. This is episode 262. I am with Clive de Carle, and we are going to talk about the power of pine, methylene blue, and tooth rain, man. First and foremost, guys, if you guys could, there is still time to donate to the Thanksgiving food drive that me and the Yakima 420 Club are teaming up to do. So we have raised around $750, $700 to go ahead and feed back families and give out meals to economically impacted or just anybody who needs help for this winter, because we understand times are hard and we're here to help because that's what we do. We're like the old school hippies, and we're fighting for the truth, but we're also providing for with nature and providing for the people, and we're gonna stand up when people want to sit down. We're here. So go to the TikTok, go check it out on 509 Divine Pines. It's on GoFundMe as well. The actual food drive. TikTok is where you find the video though, to like look at what I'm talking about and look at the link. I will have a link down in the description below too, so you can go ahead and check that out. And it's gonna be cool, just provide for your people, because there's a lot of people out there hurting this year, and just do your part, do what we can. Also go over to Chemical Free Body for my newest sponsor with Tim James, the health hero. He has amazing products and has definitely helped me and the people around me clear up some toxins, because that's what it's all about. He has the awesome blends to fight toxins, to fight the chemicals that we see in all of our foods and here in American society. And so if you want to be toxin free, you want to be chemical free, you want to be pain free of these harmful chemicals, go over to Chemical Free Body and use coupon code 509 Divine Pines. But guys, today's guest himself, he has his own amazing company. So look right here, Clive de Carle. Yes, this is the secret health pack that you need. I mean, look at it. You got every color in the rainbow. I mean, it's let me go. Sorry. There we go. So you got Ease and Calm blends with magnesium. You have vitamin B blends, you have vitamin D blends, vitamin B1 blends, niacin blends, fulvic minerals, iodine, selenium, energy blends, immuno blends. I mean, I can really get into it, but that's going to take a while. guys, he has a little bit of everything. He also has cool technology. So a magic chair, pelvic floor chair, vitamin C advanced fresh shower filter, osmosis zero reverse osmosis filters, which is part of the reverse osmosis system. Sorry, like I'm reading this backwards, but like you guys can see it for yourself. There's a lot of stuff here. And there's so much stuff is hurting my brain, but healing my body. I know that. Hey, Clive, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. If you could tell them about
inviting me. I was interested by the graphics you showed in the introduction. They were going too fast for me to keep my eyes on them, so I wanted to read them, but they disappeared before I could. What would be interesting, I think, would be to do, however long, a 15-minute video where people actually have time to take them in, because they all look really interesting. But I think as the intro, maybe picking your few favorites and leaving them on the screen for longer.
Well, we only got moments in this reality, and it seems like time is going by so fast, and all of these things that we're battling in society are like making us not realize how fast society is going. And I apologize, but we're moving fast, and I don't want to go ahead and slow it down too much. But I could break it down. I could do a little breakdown with it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I wanted to know more actually, but my brain got tired.
Oh no, it's definitely well. I only made it to match with the song, so I heard the song from a buddy over there in I don't know, Europe somewhere. I don't know exactly, London. I don't know where he's at. Dean Marroni. I had heard his song just because I'm a music head, and when I was listening to a whole bunch of different podcasts like Joe Rogan, Tinfoil Hat with Sam Tripoli, and all these other different alternatives, that song kind of like resonated and just made me be like, well, this kind of might just be my podcast intro. Like, I don't know. And that dude got no record deal with anybody, and I got no deal with anybody. So two just self-made alternative people, and I asked him for permission. I was like, hey, dude, I really like your song. Can I use it for the intro? And he's like, yeah, heck yeah. And so I just used it. And then I found some pictures to match with it. And I had done it myself. It kind of looks like, I ain't gonna lie, dude, it kind of looks like ass. But thanks. I ain't gonna lie. Everybody says it looks good. It's just me, though, as a creative artist. I'm always going to think that all my products are like, could be better, Or
shall we get back to Divine Pines?
Yeah, well, the Divine Pines.
In other words, let's talk about the pine tree.
Yeah, man. Yeah, well, in essence, guys, to go ahead and push forward our next topic, and the most powerful topic that all of us should understand here in the Pacific Northwest, or I guess around the world, is the pine tree, pine cone, pine needle. Right here on Clive's website, he has a couple products, and so I'm going to show you guys right here. This is I just found these awesome. So we got the Canadian pine needle and spruce tip tincture. Could you talk about this? Well, so just talk about these few products, and I'll say a few words too.
Okay, well, let me first explain how I got interested in pine in the first place. And what happened was, maybe 15 plus years ago, I interviewed Dr. Jennifer Daniels. Have you come across her at all?
No, I'm gonna write her down though.
Yeah, Dr. Jennifer Daniels, really interesting lady. And when I first interviewed her, I've interviewed her several times over the years because she really is very interesting. She told me that she'd studied at Wharton College, then studied at Harvard Medical School. And so she was pretty bright, top of the tree. And she explained what had happened at medical school, what it was like. And she explained that everybody coming into the medical profession obviously believed that the drugs worked. That was pretty much a given, right? The research was done. It was all proven. Then she said something to the effect of, on the second year, first thing the lecturer said is that we know that 50% of the drugs don't work, but we don't know which 50%. So then as time went on, she realized that really what she thought the profession was going to be was a totally different thing in reality. So anyway, she graduates and she sets up a practice in New York. Now, Jennifer is black, and she decided, although she came from a wealthy family, that she would set up in what she called the ghetto. So she's in whatever the poor black area of New York is. And after a year, she's totally disillusioned. She's been giving people the standard of care as she's been taught to do, and it's a dismal failure. And so she starts offering people a natural regime instead. And within a short time when she first started, lots of the ex-slaves came in talking about this magic cure that the slaves use, but they didn't know what it was. Too much time had passed by and it was sort of lost. And she went on a quest to find out what it was. And she worked out that only a few choices it could have been. She had no money, so it had to be something that they got from the wild somehow. Anyway, after a lot of asking, she understood it was turpentine, which is, the essential oil you can get from pine trees, turpentine, just like artists use. So these days you can get synthetic turpentine, but you can still get the real stuff because, as it turns out, artists who use oil paints, traditional, the fake stuff doesn't work. So you can still get 100% gum spirits. That's what it's called, gum spirits. 100% gum spirits. And clearly there are some manufacturers that are better than others. But if it's 100% pure gum spirits, then it should be that. Absolutely pure. Anyway, so Jennifer learns that this was their secret weapon. And what she was told, the story would be something along the lines of the slave owner having got really ill, and with the medical doctors being unable to cure them, they'd come down to the slave quarters asking for that voodoo cure. And so it was turpentine. It was free for them. They had the equipment to boil it up and stuff. Anyway, so she decides, Jennifer, to take it herself. So she can't find any references as to anybody who's ever done it and how safe it might be. So she gets a sugar cube, which apparently one of the ways they were doing it, could have done it with honey or whatever. And the idea is it works like a Trojan horse. You put the turpentine on the sugar cube or with the honey or whatever, and you swallow it. Now, a lot of people have got parasites. The parasites can or cannot be a problem. We can talk about that if you want to ask me about it later, because parasites can be a good thing as well as possibly a bad thing. Anyway, she didn't know whether this was going to kill her or not. I think she was unduly paranoid. However, she tells her secretary at the office, if I'm not in by 9 as normal, I'm probably dead. Anyway, so she takes it, nothing happens, absolutely zero. So next day, she takes twice the amount, nothing happens. Each day she's ringing up the secretary saying, if I'm not in by 9, I'll be dead. Anyway, on the third day, she takes 2.5 and it works. Suddenly, she has a massively positive reaction. Now, she was very healthy. She had good bowel movements going on. She was ready to detox some parasites. Not everybody is ready. And the pine products shouldn't be looked at as, oh, it's just a plant, it's not very powerful. In the form of turpentine, just rubbing it on the skin over let's say the tummy sort of area,
it'll kill parasites, right? So I'm guessing this is just me from understanding science and understanding both products. Is it very similar to bromelain and how it is in pineapple, where these enzymes, these spiky enzymes, go in and destroy these parasites and just devour them? Is that how pinene is? Yes.
The thing is, there are so many different types of parasites, aren't there? There's the most common, which is
right, but in the nature though, does the pinene does would work like bromelain, right? And just go ahead destroy viruses, parasites, and things of the iller nature.
Well, there's another subject we could be talking about. I don't believe viruses exist. Bacteria.
Yeah, of course. I think that the whole terrain theory is a topic.
Yeah, of course. I've never really looked at bromelain from the perspective, particularly of parasites. Of course, things like papaya seeds and those things must do that. But there's so many ways to deal with parasites. And then you want to figure out, are these parasites you want or not? Because let's say you're toxically poisoned with heavy metals, for example, toxic metals. Well, it may be the body chooses to, so to speak, unleash the parasites which have been dormant in your body to convert those toxic metals into healthy products. There are loads and loads of examples one can look at where the parasites are actually of positive benefit and there for a reason temporarily to clear up something else. The body would never do anything wrong, but if you're nutrient deficient, obviously parasites might take over because you haven't got the right bacteria in your gut, and that kind of thing. But so turpentine is very interesting, but you need to study it before you even consider using it. And I know this because I've been, it's been many years since I've met loads of people who've got it wrong with turpentine because they didn't bother to do any research. So that's a warning, but also it's one of the most powerful things, the slaves magic cures. But getting on to the pine needle and spruce tip tincture, basically we were lucky enough to be introduced to these two Canadian guys who have been into the pine collection and synthesis for a very long time. And I've got a couple of interviews with both of them, and it's fascinating. They explain how they've worked out exactly which week to harvest which tree at which altitude to
That's
get.
awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
They're really dialed in.
Well, yeah, I was so impressed. I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, I was collecting pine pollen myself, just simply by watching the trees, waiting until the pine pollen was about to get spread by the wind, then putting a plastic carrier bag over the entire branch and shaking the pollen into the bag and collecting it that way, and then using alcohol and various things to process it. But I was just guessing, basically, but they've really got it down. So the quality of their products is really fabulous. And of course, obviously wild, because pine trees grow in the wild, obviously. Polyphenols, pine needles are rich in them. And one of the great examples is the Pilgrims. When they arrived in America, they were getting basically vitamin C deficiency, a form of scurvy on the land. And the Native Americans, who knew all about pine needles, made tea for them, and they survived. Obviously, the grateful English wiped out the very people who saved them, probably, but we could look over.
It is one of the most resourceful and most abundant, and it's high in vitamin C. It's high in everything that you need right here. So here's a little excerpt. Pine tinctures are herbal preparations derived from various pine species, primarily valued for their high vitamin C content, antioxidant properties, and traditional use in supporting the respiratory and immune system. Eastern white pine, the pine strobus, is particularly noted for its medicinal properties, with historical use by First Nations people as a winter tonic to prevent scurvy due to exceptionally high vitamin C levels. Man, Clive, you are on point. Thanks for being a truthful man. More than 5 times than that of lemon by weight. This tincture is also rich in vitamin A, antioxidants, and other compounds such as shikimic acid and terpenes. One of the most significant compounds found in eastern white pine needles is sertamin, a multifunctional molecule with documented antiviral properties. Research indicates that sertamin can inhibit the SARS-CoV-2 RNA-dependent RNA polymerase, potentially blocking viral replication, and is significantly more potent than remdesivir in some biochemical assays. Sertamin has been used in medicine for nearly a century and is derived from pine needle extracts. Pine needle tinctures are used in a variety of purposes, including expectorant to help clear mucus from the lungs, and anti-inflammatory and general immune booster. They are also used traditionally to support detoxification. treat parasitic infections. And as a dewormer, when taken in higher doses, like turpentine, the tincture is typically prepared using high proof alcohol to extract the active compounds with a recommended dose of 10 to 20 drops under the tongue or diluted in water 2 to 3 times daily for up to 3 weeks, followed by a 1-week break. Despite their benefits, pine tinctures contain alcohol, typically 40%, and are not suitable for children, pregnancy, or breastfeeding women, individuals known with allergies to pine either. Some sources caution against using during pregnancy due to potential risk, including reduced lactation and possible miscarriage. It is advised to consult a health professional before listening and taking this. We are not health professionals, so don't sue us. Pine tinctures can be made from different parts of the tree, including needles, resin, pollen, offering unique benefits. The needles are the most commonly used parts, harvested year-round, and are especially effective when used as winter tonic or during respiratory congestion. The tincture is generally stored in a cool, dark place, and it has a shelf life of up to 2 years when properly stored.
So I would say the shelf life is actually going to be quite a bit longer in reality. Once you suspend something in alcohol, it's pretty
What would yours be expectant?
By law, we have to put 2 years. At the
course.
same time, we have to put 2-year expiry date on the fulvic minerals. They are just over 30 million years old, and we have to say
that's all for legal reasons at the stores, right? For everything, even like
yeah, it's just stupid.
It is.
So
but that also puts more money in the industry's pockets, because now they're like, oh well, it's off by date. Now you got to buy new ones and new ones and new ones. Keep on feeding this. Keep on feeding Kraft. Keep on feeding Lucerne, or these bigger organizations. Kellogg's, you have to buy more and more.
So you mentioned the shikimic acid, and the shikimate pathway. The thing is that while I don't think their description of viruses is correct, what the spike proteins are what those products hit. But what I didn't realize when I first started collecting pine pollen and making pine needle tea is, because I knew basically nothing, I didn't know there were a couple of poisonous ones out there.
Oh, put us on game. What are poisonous out there for everybody?
The first one you need to know is if you want to switch pages to the pine tincture, the pine pollen tincture.
The next one that you got, the
one that's got 2 bottles.
Yes, one moment right there.
There are 2 there. There's the ponderosa and the lodgepole. Now, ponderosa is probably the one that most women would choose. Men and women could take either. However, it's slightly more feminine biased, where the lodgepole is slightly more male biased. Now, so we take the lodgepole because that's one of the finest variants out there for the pine pollen tincture. Lodgepole pine needles are poisonous. So the pollen's great, but the pine needles are poisonous. Simple as that. So, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just playing. But, I could have got it wrong. So people who are thinking of doing it themselves, they do need to be able to identify the tree that they're taking it from, just to avoid an issue.
So, talk about these. Where do these come from? Do these come from the same places? Yep, and what would each of these be specifically used for?
Right. Well, both of them, one of the big usages is hormone balance. They are incredible to balance hormones. I mean, testosterone, both men and women can often benefit from testosterone, but it's always about balance. Pine pollen is one of those substances that can balance the hormones and sort them out. And I think that's probably perhaps the primary reason that people use them. I'm just going to quickly open that same page.
So down here, sorry, now I see it says 1 to 6 tincture, 333 milligram dry ponderosa, used in traditional Chinese medicine to replenish qi.
Exactly.
It's,
It's energy. And if you think about it, if your hormones are balanced, you're going to be strong, potent, vibrant, all those things. I mean, it's a traditional thing. It's one of the great, maybe the greatest of the pine products. I don't know.
dude, thank you for having this, by the way, because over the last few years, I've been buying different products, and one of the things that I can never trust is finding cheap pine pollen or like pine tinctures that are like fake or mixed with other stuff, and like I just never know,
Well,
But
it
I
depends how they've done the extraction.
right, yeah, and so I appreciate you, and I've had you on my podcast before, so I trust your research and this product, guys. For everybody out there, I vouch for his work and vouch for his products. That these are real and these are official, and these are awesome, man. Thank you for having these.
But my whole business strategy was based on a poster that my dad had up on his office wall. It was a picture of a Rolls Royce car.
Shout
And
out
it
to
said,
Pops.
my tastes are simple. I just like the best.
That's
And
right.
his viewpoint was that the best might be the most expensive, but it's going to be the best value in the long run because it's going to work. It's
That's
going
right.
to last. It's going to be everything it says on the tin. So, my whole way of doing business has always been, I've got an ego to support. I want to sell the best, and people will say, how great it is. And I mean,
That's
I
right.
advise it to anybody in business.
Always gotta have top quality, top shelf, baby.
Well,
That's right.
it's the easiest to sell in a way. I mean, the cheapest is also ridiculously
Well,
easy.
people are gonna come, but might as more people will come if they know it's true,
Well, yeah, and
and more people will stay.
you
And
buy your vitamins and minerals in a supermarket,
I
and
got vitamins right here.
the wrong type are probably going to do you more harm than good. Literally, not joking.
That's right. That's 100% right. Like I talk about it, the GMO modification program. It's always a half life. So let's just say this, guys, for everybody out there who is wondering, if you eat like a specific, let's just say GMO chicken, filled, and they say like, oh, this is genetically modified, filled with all sorts of different hormones, tested, blah blah blah. It's not organic, and you eat that for 10 years, and then you have, let's say you have a twin, and he eats organic chicken, grass fed, out in pasture raised, and he eats that for 10 years. You guys go to the doctor and get x-rays and CAT scans. As a GMO eater, your organs will look morphed, they'll be bloated, they'll be disformed, you'll have problems, cancers, tumors, different things like that growing. No doubt, 100%. If you think I'm lying, go to the doctors right now and ask them like the statistics. They're going to be hesitant, but you can crack it out of them. They're going to tell you. You just got to be persistent and ask them for the truth and don't lie, right?
A fabulous way to look at it is, let's say somebody's on a whole bunch of drugs from the doctor, and you say to them, look, imagine you're on a boat and it sinks and you swim to a desert island, but you haven't got your drugs with you. All you've got to eat are fantastic fruits, vegetables, nuts, coconuts, fresh fish, fresh meat. That's all you got to eat. Are you going to get better than on the drugs? And they have to say yes.
Oh no, the drugs are going to kill you, and especially because as I also touch on, the creators of these drugs, these pharmaceutical, these highly occultic pharmaceutical drugs, they are stemming from the pharmakia. The pharmakia in ancient Greece comes from the sorcery, the witchcraft, right? Now, if we look at what these the whole Disney and what all these different tales of what the ancient witches would do, it's all clearly stated. They would concoct a brew filled with like blood, bones, filled with all sorts of evil type of things, put spells and cast on them and create this type of toxin or poison or blah blah blah, witchcraft type of stuff. And so they are doing a very similar thing with the pharmaceutical industry now, because like, what are they doing? They're clearly stating, oh yeah, we're creating this shot that has 100 different ingredients, we're creating this pill that has like 10 different ingredients, but then like you look at the derivative of these ingredients, it's filled with tar, filled with just absolute chemicals, just straight up just toxic chemicals. And you look at who's funding and who's creating these guys, all this stuff. The families are straight from occultic families that admit that they're in Masonic or occultic traditions and beliefs of worshiping old gods, pagan gods, and worshiping dark fallen ones and stuff. So you put two and two together, the people admit that they're in darker cults, and the actual chemicals are dark ingredients, and the actual wordplay is pharmacy or pharmakia, which means sorcery and witchcraft. All of that is just out there in the open, and it's truthful nature of it, right? The genetic modification program, the hybridization program, as I like to say. And so, but I think, the organic is always the way to go. Like, there's no doubt about it. The organic farming is the way to go. The organic eating is the way to go. Looking in and getting things like this is the way to go right here. So
if you want an amusing night out, go to a restaurant and ask them, and they say, what would you like to drink? And you say, well, have you got any organic beer? Have you got any organic wine? They say no. Then you say, have you got any organic food on the menu? And they say no. Then you look them straight in the eyes and you say, what, you mean all your food and drink is poisoned?
Right. Yeah. And some of these places, you know what, I have it's funny, bro. I actually sat here in my little studio area, and I called like 40 different restaurant establishments last year. And I called and I was like, hey, do you know if your ingredients are GMO or organic? And a lot of them were like, what do you mean? Like, and I had to like actually say like the organic and GMO, then like pesticide, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, well, I actually don't know. And then the lower majority was like, well, yeah, we actually do use GMO. And very, very few rare, like sliver was like, yeah, well, we naturally source and strictly organic. And I was just surprised. It was like 3% of businesses were organic and natural, and then the rest pretty sure GMO.
Yeah. So if we ask every time we go into the shop, where's the organic vegetables? Every time we go in, we ask for organic. Sooner or later, they'll realize there's a demand. But we've got to ask. I mean, they're there to make money. If we ask for it, there's a good chance that we might get it. Yeah.
So I got more right here, guys. So pine pollen. We're talking about pine pollen, pine tinctures, all of this. Pine pollen derived from male cones of the pine trees, such as Pinus massononia and Pinus tabaformis, have been used for thousands of years in traditional Chinese medicine as both medicinal herb and health food. It is often referred to as the natural micronutrient storeroom or natural micronutrient bank due to its rich composition of amino acids, vitamins, minerals, enzymes, flavonoids, and bioactive compounds. Pine pollen is traditionally believed to replenish qi, nourish the heart and lungs, promote blood circulation, and support longevity. Modern research suggests that pine pollen may offer a wide range of health benefits due to bioactive properties. It is demonstrated antioxidant effects, potentially protecting cells from oxidative stress and contributing to anti-aging effects in laboratory and animal studies. Yes, that is where I heard the research on pine pollen first, I believe, a couple of years ago on one of the hundreds of podcasts I listened to. And so I got really interested in its cellular protection, because if you want to go out into nature and be immune like to a lot of the sicknesses, and people are wearing masks and wearing gloves and sanitizing it crazy, you want to eliminate a lot of that, and you just want to take a quick drop in the morning. That is what it is. Pine pollen tincture right there. It will definitely protect your cells. I know when I go out and I'm on pine pollen tinctures, like I can feel all the oxygen, everything is just being absorbed, and I don't have to sneeze when I'm like, I can tell that there's pollen in the air, or like it smells bad. I don't really get dysfunction. Just things aren't disturbing me. Let's just say people are I'm in a highly polluted area with traffic, right? All the smog of the cars. I don't really feel down and clumped down. This really will protect all of your cells, and it helps. The anti-aging is true too, where because your cells are protected, the aging doesn't like you don't diminish. You don't age. Your cells aren't dying daily. So if you're on this for months and months and years, you're gonna notice your cells be more rejuvenated and in function. You're gonna look healthier, and you're probably gonna reverse some of the aging problems that the modern industry has already done to a lot of us. As he was talking about with hormonal balance right here, so one of the most prominent claims surrounding pine pollen in its role is a hormonal balance containing phytoandrogens, plant-based compounds that mimic the effects of testosterone, leading to its use as a natural supplement for supporting healthy hormone levels, energy, and libido in both men and women. Some studies have reported increased testosterone levels in male rats following pine pollen extract administration, though human clinical evidence remains limited. And I bet, like, I'll be honest, I bet it does increase your testosterone like naturally, where like you will get more muscle, like take not increase muscle mass. That's what I meant, but you're gonna get the energy to go to the gym. You're gonna get the energy to wake up an hour earlier. I have not been on a good pine pollen tincture for a minute because I got dissatisfied with the ones that I was finding. But continuing on, with research suggesting it can accelerate skin cell proliferation and improve skin hydration and elasticity. That's right, your skin will look healthier. Despite these potential benefits, pine pollen is not without risk. It can cause allergic reaction. So, like, if you're allergic to pine, don't take this. That's 100%. It can have sensitive effects with people who are under prostate cancer or polycystic ovary syndrome. Just make sure that your pine tinctures don't have any pesticides, and if you buy it from Clive, you can definitely bet that that's not in your products. So there's two things about that. Now, if we want, man, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about more of this history of pine. Unless you want to say something about pine, I got more history that I want to share, but let's go ahead and.
Before you do that,
Yeah.
I need to add a caution, right? If you're pregnant or think you might be pregnant or you're breastfeeding, now is not the time to use pine pollen at all. Okay, it can bring on premature birth, so you don't want that. So bear in mind that if you're on, let's say, hormone replacement from the doctor, if you correct your hormones naturally, your drugs might be knocking you out of whack. So, when you're looking at things that are really powerful, like pine pollen, you just want to make sure that you don't get it wrong. For, huge percentage of the population, perfectly safe. If you accidentally took double the amount, triple the amount, doesn't matter. But those are the big warnings.
And do you use pine tincture yourself?
Yeah, I do.
And
Yeah.
how do you feel? And like, when would you recommend people using? Right in the morning, at night, any time of the day? And like, is it true that your skin probably feels better and looks, you're more elasticity and rejuvenation and cells and?
I find it hugely difficult to tell because A, I'm constantly trying new stuff. B, I'm not very sensitive to anything in particular. It is one of those things that if I haven't done it for a while, and then I do it, I feel the benefit. But as I say, I test quite a lot of stuff, and it's somehow for me really hard to know what's doing what. But
whenever I get a new product, I double dose it, and I know that's not recommended for a lot, but like I double dose it. Yeah.
I've done a lot more than that with the pine pollen. I mean, at one point, I tried serving a mixture of them over ice with some lemon juice and stuff as a cocktail.
Yeah, you can.
It wasn't fantastic, but I was thinking, well, is there a market for a health cocktail out there? Should the cocktail bars be selling, a pine pollen tincture that actually tastes nice?
Of course, just put it in kombucha. and that's it. Put it in a nice kombucha and sell it like a pine kombucha.
Yeah, and you could add some honey to it to make it palatable for the people who like the sweet stuff.
Yeah,
But I've really experimented, and actually, the night that I did the cocktails, that night was particularly jolly.
and of
Where
course.
who knows?
Oh, it was definitely uplifting. So like whenever I was taking the pine, it was definitely uplifting. Where like I felt like very vibrant and bouncy. Bouncy is the appropriate word. Like I felt like I was always on the Earth's energy, just like a rabbit, just hopping around, like not speed wise, but like in the, you know how it seems like rabbits sometimes are just always happy, just munching and just hopping around, like
Yeah.
that. That's yeah. The energy was just jubilant. It was amazing. So guys, let's speculate a little bit right here in the history of the pine cone and the pine symbolism. So, the history of the pine cone symbolism has held profound symbolic meaning across numerous ancient civilizations and spiritual traditions. In ancient Egypt, it was associated with spiritual enlightenment and the pineal gland, often depicted on the staff of Osiris, where two serpents rise to meet at the pine cone, symbolizing the awakening of consciousness and the journey towards divine wisdom. The pine cone's resemblance to the pineal gland, sometimes referred to as a third eye or seat of the soul. This led to enduring connection with a spiritual awakening and higher consciousness in esoteric teachings, including those of theosophy, Freemasonry, and modern New Age movement. I kind of think that they took the image for themselves because there's a lot of truth in the medicine of the pine. But hey, who knows? Maybe there is some truth though that the pineal gland looks like that or is a symbol to the pine cone. I don't know. It's just very fascinating, right? In ancient Greece and Rome, the pine cone symbolized fertility, abundance, and life energy, which is what the medicinal benefits of pine cone tincture, pine needle tincture, pine pollen tinctures would be. Dionysus, the Greek god of wine, ecstasy, was often depicted carrying a thyrsus topped with a pine cone, representing the exuberance of life and creative power. The Romans also associated the pine cone with Venus, the goddess of love, and it was commonly used in tomb decorations across the Roman Empire, reflecting its link to eternal life and regeneration. The Syrians and Babylonians depicted winged deities holding pine cones aloft in palace carvings, often using them to fertilize a symbolic tree of life, reinforcing the pine cone's role as a representation of immortality, the eternal cycle of life and death, and continuity of the empire. In Hinduism, while not explicitly a symbol, the pine cone spiral structure parallels the concepts of the Kundalini energy rising through the chakras, culminating in the opening of the third eye, pineal gland, pine cone semblance, and spiritual enlightenment. Christianity inherited and adapted these ancient symbols, viewing the pine cone as a representation of resurrection, immortality, and the tree of life. It became a common motif in the church architecture and religious iconography, including the staff carried by the Pope, reflecting its enduring spiritual significance. The Celts also associated pine cones with the cyclical nature of life and renewal, using them as fertility charms, while the Aztec culture also linked the pine cone to Xochipilli, the god of art and dance, symbolizing fertility and life cycle. The pine cone's natural form in the Fibonacci spiral pattern and role as a seed carrier has also contributed to the symbolic meaning of its representation of regeneration, eternal life, and the unfolding of the universe's knowledge. This deep-rooted symbolism spanning over 3,000 years, I think that's 3,000 years is low. I think there's symbolism for this like 200,000 years old. Reflects humanity's enduring fascination with the pine cone as a bridge between the physical and the spiritual realms. What do you have to say? Like, so just touch on that if you could, Carl, just to while I get a breather.
Well, of course, the largest statue in the Vatican is a pine cone.
Right here below, there's a comment. The Hermetics adopted the pine cone because pine trees are monoecious and the culmination of Gnostic enlightenment ends in becoming hermaphroditic in expression in both divine feminine and male from the same seed. What? My head hurts, but I understand that.
And there's also the fact that pine nuts are delicious on pasta.
Yeah, dude, pine nuts are actually pretty bomb. Like as a food, they're really bomb, really healthy.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
exactly.
what do you think? What do you take for as the ancient spiritual aspects? Have you ever studied? Have you ever looked at like? I mean, what do you think when you see these things on ancient aliens and these other ancient architects, and it has this pine cone symbol? What's your idea? What's your feel?
It clearly had significance. What that significance is or was, I honestly have no idea. You know, just like I can imagine what the pyramids were used for, but at the end of the day, I can't be sure of anything. And these days, it's incredibly difficult to be sure of anything because we're being lied to, and you know everything you think you know is probably wrong. If you learnt it at school, you know, as we discussed before we started, the myths are way more believable than most history.
Yeah, they took the truth out of mythology and really took the deification out of the world. I know that's a problem with like modern day government and religion, where they like tried taking the spirituality of God and tried taking the spirituality of the ancient past and mythology and completely like made it look foolish and speculative. But like what the foretelling and the signs of like this being true is that you see certain militias go and destroy these architects and the truth and the tablets and all of these sites and even the nature. They've taken down all the biggest trees, they've taken down all of the most beautiful lands and most beautiful gardens, it destroyed it. And when you ask the cultures and the tribesmen who actually are from these places and know the past for the hundreds and thousands of years, they tell you the truth, and they're like, yeah, well, like it's true to us and we have the proof. But these guys, these colonizers and these other darker cults destroy these things. And
Well, we're very lucky to live in the age that we do, where we have a real chance of enough people waking up to make a change. You know, we don't need politics. You know, we don't need government. We don't need any of the stuff that we're enslaved by. If anybody doesn't know about the Bradbury pound, that is the answer to the financial system. In 1914, when it was obvious to people in England that we were going to go into World War, the banks were worried about a run on the pound. If everybody wanted their gold out of the bank, which didn't exist, of course, because they'd lent out 10 times that much or more, Britain would fail. So what the government did is they announced an extended bank holiday, a long holiday when the banks were shut. And in that time, they brought out a new currency. And the new currency, instead of being based on debt, like normal money is these days, it was based on the value of England. So the value of England, if you count the workers and the land and the buildings and the rivers and the everything, it's worth a fortune, right? You could borrow money against England because it's worth so much. So for quite a while, the UK government, the English government printed their own money. On the first day it was announced, they were worried that the people might not accept this new money, but they did. And on the first day, they were so rushed they could only print the notes on one side. So only on the second day, they printed the notes on both sides of the piece of paper. And so suddenly they had money that they could print whenever they liked if it was based on value. So if a new bridge needed to be built or you came to them with a great business idea, they could lend you money at zero interest because it's just a piece of paper. And of course, the banks were pretty cross with this, as they were, why they shot Abraham Lincoln and so on. It was all a battle between the people and the banks. But if you look specifically at the Bradbury pound example and study it, a man called Justin Walker has done great work on the subject. you can see that overnight, whichever country in the world we're talking about, if they switch to money as value as opposed to money as debt, every country's financial problems could be fixed overnight. So all the answers to the world's problems are actually there. They've been thought about, known about for decades in general, or millennia even. But people
But the
need to,
bankers don't want it that way because it's more control for their establishment and plan
well, they
to
want people stuck in fear. And when
and
you're in fear, you can't think straight, you know, where
your
we need
health goes
to be,
down.
where we need to be is the opposite of a state of fear, because there are only two places a human being can be. They're either in the state of fear or they're in the state of love.
Yeah, that's right, baby. That's right. State
And
of
that,
love.
yeah. So if you can recognize which state you're in at any given moment, and the moment you spot yourself in fear, you say, well, look, 99% of everything I was frightened about didn't actually happen. So that's their biggest weapon, making you frightened that everything is going to go wrong. And then find a way to snap yourself back into the love state. I used to do it if I was feeling depressed by playing really loud rock music. For me, that was generally able to snap me out of it and back into, oh, I like this. I'm a happy person again. But yeah, it's, at this point, we need to really look at our own consciousness and how we're thinking, and is everything we're doing basically for love,
And the strange thing to tie this into how this is behind, like the state of love, the state of transcendence, the state of the higher consciousness, the higher feeling, like that the key, the chakra system, it's all true, it's all real. We shouldn't be illusioned when we see the references to the kundalini and all the different aspects of how cultures reference this system. I mean, if Jesus and God and all this is speculated and referenced to some as Christ consciousness and all this, right? In a way, like we can see though, like there's peace in prayer, there's peace in meditation, there's peace in activating that higher self love, that higher form of giving out to others, service to others, never really just being ignorant and being greedy, being outspoken, outgiven, and also finding the healthy ways to live and not be toxic all the time through foods and through drinks and through drugs and through bad thoughts, bad music, bad people, bad anything, right? Like chemicals that you're putting on, like shampoos that are very poisonous, that are making your hair fall out, or hair dyes that are similar, or men who are injecting steroids and they're like dying young, and it's like, hey man, you shouldn't be doing that. Like, just go the natural way, right? It goes in all forms. Don't like toxify yourself. Be clean, get powered up, get healthy, and you're going to start experiencing a higher state, a higher love, a more peaceful way of living. You're going to feel more protected. Maybe you're going to start feeling that pineal gland activated. For me, like I know when I was using like the pine tinctures, like my pineal gland, like I've always been very, very outspoken about my spirituality and like understanding my pineal gland and its true nature, and like to our body and how we can use it, and its secretion of DMT and the whole realm of it, right? So I've always been been outspoken on how it's activated, and like the pine pollen help activate it more. Like I feel like it's activated just a bit more, like when I was on it, and it felt just sharper. Many things can do that, eating raw, like organic meats, raw food, vegetables and fruits, using beef organs, and just supercharging your body on the most powerful nutrient complexes and vitamin complexes found in products or certain foods. And like that's how we heal. I know for sure, people who I hate to say it, but people who are with other people who are always on those toxic foods and drinks and drugs, they're more violent with each other. They end up fighting each other and hating each other and causing more issues. But these people who are really on the organics and the natural foods and the healthy way of living and thinking, and when they're around, they're peaceful. They're like, you don't see problems between them because they're not like, I don't know how to say it. They're just not filled with the lower vibrations of the toxification and with them and how these products and things put us in. And so, we can do our part and help our family, help our friends, help our work, help our house, help our relationship with our dogs and animals, cats and horses and cows, by feeding them the best that we can. And you're gonna see the relationship grow and be more peaceful. You're gonna see a better connection flourish. I know with my dogs, people always wonder, dude. So for quick reference, with my dogs, I'm a new dog owner for the first time in 5 years. I've never had dogs my whole life, but in 5 years, I've been able to have a better relationship with my dogs than people who've had dogs their whole life. And then people notice, they're like, "What the like what like why do they listen like that?" Or like, like I'm teaching them tricks, but then they can people can also see that when I guide them to do specific things, my dogs are very, very quick and sharp to go ahead and listen and act and like sit down and do certain, like, it's very strange, for being a brand new dog owner in 5 years. I've gotten this relationship down with my dogs very, very well. And yeah, they're assholes sometimes, but for the most part, people notice, like wow, like there's a good connection. And it's because, for the most part, I'm feeding them organic. I'm feeding them natural stuff. I'm eating organic. And so there's a real connection between physiology and the spirit, and like things like intuition and telepathy and telekinesis and different things among those aspects that the pineal gland can provide. To go forward, I wanted to also reference one last thing about the symbolism right here. The pine tree has held a deep symbolic meaning across numerous cultures and historical periods. In ancient Greece, the pine tree was sacred to Dionysus, of course. Worshippers of Dionysus carried phallic pine cone tipped wands, and pine cones were associated with the spiritual enlightenment of fertility. Okay, we read this, so this is a continuance. The Romans also revered the pine, particularly in the cult of Cybele, where the pine was linked to her consort Attis, who was said to have died under a pine tree and been transformed into an immortal pine. Interesting. The spring equinox festival of Cybele and Attis included cutting down and bringing into sanctuary of a pine tree. In ancient Egypt, the pine tree was associated with the god Osiris, with legend stating that an image of Osiris was buried in the hollowed out center of a pine tree. The pine also symbolizes longevity and resilience in various cultures, including the Algonquian tribes of the Northeast and the Great Lakes tribes like the Anishinaabe and the Potawatomi, who viewed the pine as a symbol of wisdom and harmony with nature. In Scotland, the Scots pine was a symbol of durability, reflected in the Gaelic proverb, hard as the heather, lasting as the pine. The pine tree played a significant role in the Native American cultures, particularly among the Iroquois, who regarded the pine as the tree of peace, symbolizing unity and peace. According to Iroquois tradition, the founding fathers buried their weapons beneath the roots of the great tree of peace, signifying a commitment to peaceful confliction resolution. The pine was also used as a clan symbol by some tribes, including the Pueblo. In the Great Basin and Plateau regions, pine trees were associated with rain, and their wood or cones were burned in rituals to influence weather. In early American history, the pine tree became a powerful emblem of resistance and independence. The New England Eastern white pine was highly prized for shipbuilding due to its tall, straight trunks, which were essential for masts in the Royal Navy. The British Crown claimed ownership of those trees through the Timber Act, restricting colonial use and sparking the Pine Tree Riot of 1772. a protest that helped fuel revolutionary sentiment. The pine tree flag, also known as the Appeal to Heaven flag, featured a green pine tree on a white field with the motto "An appeal to heaven" or "An appeal to God," referring John Locke's philosophy on the right to revolution when government fails to protect natural rights. This flag was used by the Continental Navy in 1775 and became a symbol of colonial defiance and the fight against colonialism. The pine tree symbol extends to spiritual and practical uses. In Europe, pine tree were used in megalithic structures like Gosek Henge in Germany, dating back to 5000 BCE, pretty much. This says 4900, but you okay? Well, sorry. I guess we got to be specific. Where they're arranged to attract celestial movements and mark seasonal changes, the resin and needles of pine trees have been used medicinally, and their antiseptic and vitamin C rich properties and pine candles were used in Scottish wedding rituals for prosperity. The enduring image of the pine tree as a symbol of peace, resilience, and longevity continues to resonate across cultures and centuries, and especially right here with the 509 Divine Pines, man. I love reading history because there's so much truth in a lot of what we see out here in nature, man. So in your area, like in Europe, is there a lot of pine? I'm just wondering.
Yeah. All across the Northern Hemisphere, loads of pines. Even the Mediterranean, there are Mediterranean pines. I mean, they seem to grow almost everywhere. There are a few things I could mention. One of them is don't burn pine in your open fire or your wood burner. I had a chimney catch fire because I was burning pine. I didn't realize there's so much resin in it.
It goes upward and shoots up?
But the resin builds up on the chimney, and then eventually, if you have a really hot fire, the whole chimney catches fire. So don't do that. Another one is
Thank you for telling.
Being now over 70, I've observed dogs for many years, and I've noticed that I've never seen them ever in the wild cook their meat, and I've never seen them bake biscuits or cookies. They just don't do it. You kibble, they just don't do it. I've observed that. That's good to know, I think. Also, the carnivore in the wild, of course, always goes for the liver first and the internal organs. It's only the jackals afterwards that come and clear up the muscle meat, the liver and so on. All the internal organs have the most nutritional benefit. There was something else I wanted to pick you up on. I can't remember what it was right now. Yeah, no, I've lost that one.
Well, I mentioned things like the prosperity and the wisdom along the Iroquois, the Pueblo, and these cultures. It seems fascinating to see that what we got right here is much more than just a plant. It's been a ancient spiritual staple to reality. It seems like to heal wounds, to provide longevity, anti-aging, provide nourishment, fulfillment, total health boost, and even in hypothetical, even though the modern health the AHA and the modern health medicine, all these big league of medicinal practices, they don't like to talk about the pineal gland and the DMT secretion and how we can healthily produce our results from it.
Yes,
but I'm sure this would help.
I remember what I was going to say now about the pineal gland. Actually, is that you've heard that people's pineal glands get calcified.
Yeah.
So the thing that dissolves calcium is the mineral magnesium. So I'd say almost everybody in the world is low on magnesium. If I was only to recommend one supplement out of everything, it would be magnesium. That's what most people would benefit from the most. Almost everybody's got a deficiency symptom of magnesium. If they haven't got it now, they would have experienced it. And I can run through what those symptoms are, if you like, because you can bet your bottom dollar you're low on magnesium. And one of the things it does is it dissolves calcium. So anybody who's got rheumatism or something, calcifications of the joints, which causes inflammation. Magnesium dissolves calcium. It's as simple as that. And magnesium is the ultimate relaxant, really. It relaxes the brain. So if you're depressed, suicidal, it can help. If you're getting headaches, it can relax the brain. Migraines, epilepsy, constipation, it relaxes the bowels. Heart attacks, it relaxes the heart. Heart arrhythmia, twitches, it relaxes the muscles. Cramps, like menstrual cramps, muscle cramps, it relaxes the muscles. So you stop muscle cramps and you stop heart attacks. You stop heart arrhythmia. Some people get restless leg, and they're sleeping and their leg kicks out. Anything that involves relaxation, magnesium is magnificent for. I mean, who isn't stressed these days? We're way more stressed than I believe is natural. And so when you've burnt up all the magnesium that you've got, because the stress, for instance, is depriving you of magnesium, the poor diet you might be eating might be depriving you of magnesium. Once you've got through the magnesium levels, now stress turns to panic attacks. Stress can turn to anxiety. It can get really serious. And I would say most of the world are in a chronic state of stress.
And what we've seen over the last 4 years is this big time push to cause more stress, a fear mongering operation on the news. Not just that, but also like in the celebrities' lives, they're pushing fighting, violence, more and more and more, murder, more and more and more, and like this lower vibration of anger, frustration. Fight the power, be rebel. To start the riots between both sides. It seems like the bankers are just like in World War II. They're funding both sides of the riot, the BLM and the right guys, the overly Trump guys, and all them weird. It's fear.
It's all manipulation. They want you as frightened as you can possibly be, because fear
and the medicines, COVID,
pay for free. They say fear is free. They just tell you it's going to happen. They put out movies which suggest all sorts of ghastly things are going to happen, and they believe they put out the movies. If they tell you, then that's fine. They've warned you that this is what can happen. I've seen articles over the years, little sort of 4-line articles in a well-known newspaper saying breast cancer, the cures have been found. So they have to publish it, but not that anybody would notice. I think that's how it works. But if only health was taught at school. I mean, it could be so much fun teaching 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, right up to 16-year-olds. It doesn't have to be much. It could be just an hour a week. And, there could be a lesson how to fix granny's arthritis, or, how to fix mum's depression, or whatever real life problems the kids might be experiencing, how to be more clever, how to have a faster brain. Every lesson could be something that actually the kid might like to learn. I learned algebra, ancient Greek, Latin. I just don't use that shit. But
no, it was a big manipulation of academics and rewriting history, washing over history and the truth. So like, I kind of feel that all of the world has been straight up washed over in every continent, where the bankers and the Zionists, these Khazarian mafia, these ancient type of order of bloodlines, and these power hungry, these Kabbalistic and satanic inspired cults and families, that they have been manipulating and infiltrating everything that they can, right? And pushing and pulling, causing division, right? And so academics is one of them, where it's been manipulated. We're not really being taught ether or natural pathways of healing and living, and using the appropriate type of chemicals and or ingredients, and not using the chemicals, using natural stuff, right? And it sucks. It's definitely hard. They're teaching these LGBTQ pedophilia type of things in school, and it's like distracting the youth, destroying the youth.
Yeah.
They are. It's horrible. It's horrible now because of the who's funded it over the last 25 years. I don't know about in Europe, but here in America over the last 20, 30, 40 years, it's been the Bill and Melinda Gates funding a lot of and promoting a lot of this stuff, and then their offshoot of choosing, and it sucks.
But what we're watching is an end of empire. When the Roman Empire fell, what was the reason? Why this empire is falling? What's the reason? So let me ask you a question. If you had to narrow it down to one word, what is the biggest problem in one word on the planet?
It's like this antichrist spirit, the satanic spirit,
One word.
Antichristos.
Okay, let me give you another idea. So we're talking about Christ, okay?
Well, what I know from Christ is that it means the anointing. So the anti-anointing of people, the anti-blessing of people is what we're experiencing and seeing in a worldwide thing. It used to be natural to feel an anointment or blessing in nature, or even throughout your peoples. Even if you didn't really like do it hardcore like a priest, you would still just be blessed. But now it's like the opposite force is straight up just wanting to de-bless and destroy from within.
Well, let me tell you what I think the word is. I used to think that the word was government, as
Governmente,
in the world,
the control of the mind. Governmente. It's
yeah. However, I changed my mind, and so just getting back to Jesus for a moment, there he is preaching forgiveness and turning the other cheek. But he didn't always do that.
No, he flipped tables, and he revolted against the bankers.
Exactly. That's where I'm getting at. So what was the one word that was used to describe that particular form of evil, lending money for interest? What it was usury.
Ah, yes, usury.
Usury.
Forget that word.
That was the only time he got pissed off in public, right? Supposedly. So I think that usury is the most evil thing in the world. And I can explain why.
Why?
Because you've heard the expression, the love of money is the root of all evil. You've heard that expression?
That's right.
Bearing in mind that everything they tell us is opposite, the opposite is obviously true. That's how we're controlled. The lack of money is the root of all evil. How do they control you? By lack of money. You can't afford to do the good things you want to do in the world because you got to work, somehow earn a living doing something you probably maybe don't like, because it's the lack of money that's the root of all evil. So as I explained before, the Bradbury pound, overnight.
Kind of. I think even some of these richer folk who have money and they're tied by the waist and hip, because of the stance, because they don't worship and they don't go to the same parties, and so they're blackballed and they don't have the same privileges and they can't go to the same things. Like, let's just say for the higher class, in some sense, money isn't always thing. But yes, I hear your point though. Just want to make the point.
So we could overnight stop all the evil in the world overnight by doing several things, not only introducing a debt-free currency that the people or the government, who are meant to be representatives of us, print. But then, in America, how many civil servants have you got? How many people are working for the government to serve you as servants? Roughly 10 million, 20 million?
In America, I think what I remember is there a third of America is social servants, so 100 million.
Okay, so let's say, and would you, in England, we call those people public servants.
Yeah.
Police,
So, whether they're law enforcement, medical, anything.
So what if you just said to all those people, look, I need to give you a very tiny dictionary. There are only 2 words in the dictionary, and those 2 words are public. That's the people, you, your family. It's not the government. You're serving the public, right? Then the second word is servant, which means a servant helps people. They don't fine you. They don't beat you with clubs. They don't stop you from doing what you want to do. A servant helps you. So we've got, let's say the number is 100,000. I think it's probably less, but let's say it was. If they just learned those 2 definitions of those 2 words or what their job is, they'd now be helping you park. They'll be helping you not pay tax. They'll be helping you build your dream home. And then government is totally unnecessary, because if those public servants now helped you instead of making life a fucking pain and charging you loads of money for shit you don't want, we could fix things so easily with tiny changes. I was watching a fantastic video a while back that somebody kindly sent me of global trade, and it showed like the butter that England produces, which goes abroad, then an equal amount of butter from right across the other side of the world in Australia comes back in return. And America ships out loads of wheat and imports loads of wheat. So why is this craziness happening all the time? It's because it suits the shipping companies, the fuel industry. Global trade is insane. One of the most evil people in England who's ever been is Winston Churchill. Absolute murderer. Anyway, he did say some very funny things and some very intelligent things from time to time. And when he was asked at the end of the war, what was the biggest mistake that England made before the war started? And he said, losing food security. The people in England during the war had to grow their own food to survive. They were at their healthiest when they grew their own food in their own gardens and ate it as fresh as possible. And so that was the big mistake that Churchill reckoned that the country made. They weren't self-reliant, basically. And how self-reliant is America or England in anything which deliberately been sabotaged?
Yeah, it seems like these countries that were initially tied to the British hip, so like here, America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, England, London, and this whole the farthest coastal European states. It seems like the crown really put them in a chokehold and. Hey, that's why the Revolutionary War, and that's why all this, happened. America happened. In a sense.
You understand that the crown is not England.
Well, I mean, but they're like, so.
The crown,
yes,
is the city of London, totally different country. Just like Washington, D.C. is a totally different country.
Oh, no, I know. Yes. That's a whole nother story. Washington, D.C., the Vatican, and London are they're their own. They're their own.
So basically, the city of London still owns your entire country.
Yeah.
Your taxes end up basically back with the crown in the city of London.
Here in America, still, yeah, it sucks. What I wanted to do was take a quick little commercial break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about methylene blue and Tootherine.
Yeah, I don't accept commercials on my things.
Oh no, it's not like a commercial. It's more of it's just a song.
Oh, okay, all right then.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's no ad for anything. It's just a song. Good. Yeah, sorry about that.
That's all right.
What I do, I've been at it for a minute, pursuing doing the damage new. I would do everything that I said I would do. I gotta have it, so goddamn it, I'ma be everything I plan to be. Glad to see money coming my way, believe I'll achieve anything I put my mind to, or at least I try to. I'm avoiding my doom, manifesting my room. Meditate to ease the flow. Third eye open, see the goal, the energy. It can enter me, get me to feeling full. Forget my enemies, dead to me, yeah, I proceed to go to a new dimension. Gotta mention it's inside our soul. Go inside, fuck the outside. Never tell lies, show pride for belief. Gotta keep the range wide, so instead I just write another hit. Getting fried, rolling up, smoke another blunt for the good times. Good times, bad times makes for the good rhyme. So it never matters, I just learned, no I can't hide. Thank God for every second was birthed with the mind of an ancient soul who's just waiting for the next sign. I'm always watching, vision like a hawk, have 'em flocking. When I drop it, I'm talking, have 'em knocking. The knowledge that I'm dropping, I'm coming out the noggin, I'm logged in. That's the intuition, nothing wrong with doing what you feel is right. Everybody got this. Usually feel it in the night when I'm dropping knowledge. Never even needed any college, abolish people telling people what they want. I do not wish control over anybody, do it for the profit. That's the reason that they push it, do it from the cockpit. Cause they got the money, want the money on the mob shit. On the mob shit. But I know they ain't gon' make it, shit is poppin'. At the end of time, new age topics. Revolutionary crusade cross, here we go to a new space. Yeah, we enter in a new place. Louis V on my shoelace, rolling with the blue face. Yeah, I'm wondering what you chase. Just another dude caught up in the rat race. Moving my pace, lot of people looking at me sideways. I chase future preparations, gotta go through my phase till I feel ready to rearrange it. Happen on a daily basis, tripping oasis. When so many people that I can't see through their faces and touch, so I'm reading minds, feel like I'm evasive, persuasive. Cause I feel the vibe, manipulation, I'm patient. Yeah, I feel the vibe, then work to change it. Manifestation, blessings is what I'm chasing. Quantum physics, I'm about to take the time and rearrange it. I play with reality, can't feel like I'm basic. Most people shut it down, don't wanna embrace it. Replacing knowledge.
So I reckon that we've got enough there. I think you should finish the show, and I think we should.
No, sorry about that. How long was that? Sorry, I was off by like 10, 15
That's fine.
seconds.
It was only about 10 seconds. So
Yeah.
I'd suggest that we finish the show and do another one, because I quite enjoyed this. And what I suggest you do is to cut this interview into 1 minute or 2 minute chunks and shove them out on TikTok. Just shove them out every day. Another one. And the key is to put a really big title that's short and easy to read. So we talked about a lot of stuff, right? And make sure you put a link. Are you an affiliate with me?
No, I was gonna ask about that.
So that's what to do. On the website, right at the top right, you can join as an affiliate. You just put your bank details. Then you put the link with each of those TikTok videos as your affiliate. It says Clive to Carle / whatever you sign up as.
Okay.
And
would you send me the page in email?
No, I don't need to. Just go on to clivetocarle.com.
All right, let me go check it out.
Right to the top on the front page. Super easy. And then every month, if you make some sales, you get money, basically. I think the minimum payout involves, I don't know, a few $100s, I can't remember. But once you've got to the threshold, then you get paid every month. I mean, I've paid some months, we've paid to some people like Crow, thousands of dollars. It just depends how many views you can rack up. But if you hit it lucky, you can always put the same content out with a different title, the next day or whatever. You can just recycle short clips. And if one of them goes viral, as happened with me just recently, I didn't even put it up there. Somebody else put it up on my behalf. I didn't even know it was there. Suddenly, bam, 129,000 views. And the title of it was Sodium Bicarbonate. It was just dead simple. It turned out.
I did want to talk about the methylene blue, but we can definitely save that for the next episode.
Exactly
Yes.
right. There's a lot we could be talking about.
For
But
sure.
I think it flowed very well. But yeah, as I said, I would slow down your montage at the beginning, because better to have 5 real gems which people can read, I think, than 20. I just had to look away. It was too fast.
Oh no, yeah. Well, the intro, I did want to rework it eventually, because it's already like 4 or 5 years old. But I just need some help with that. I don't have the editing tools, so I need to figure out who and how I can get that done.
Look, it's so easy to learn editing.
No, it's just my computer. It's I need to update on my computer before I can do a lot of the. Because I've already tried. I've already tried getting some of these programs, and it's just my computer doesn't like a lot of the high processing video editing apps.
Buy a Mac, right? Even a cheap one. Buy a Mac. You can always get external
Apple
memory hard drives. Macs come with iMovie, which is so easy to use, super easy for editing. So easy, ridiculous.
So I'm over here. I already got the affiliate. How do I change these things? All right. So let people know where they can find you and what you got coming up, and anything else.
Yeah. So my website, I've been selling what I feel are the best quality supplements for 20 odd years, and my website currently is clive2carle.com. clive2carle.com, and if you click the link below, then that'll benefit all parties. And then I have another website. Back in 2014, I got taken down by the UK government. They didn't like the information I was giving away, because
they don't like me over here either.
So I was one of the very, very first people who got kicked off YouTube in 2014. So in 2014, I started something called secrethealthclub.com, where all the information the English government don't want you to know is basically there. It's a pay-to-join membership, but if you can't afford it, just email me info@secrethealthclub.com and tell me how much you can afford. If you can't afford a penny, no problem, we'll sign you up for free. I mean, we've got an organization to run, so we have to make some money to make it run. But nevertheless, I believe that information, particularly on health, should be free, if just available, whatever. So those are my 2 websites. And on the Secret Health Club, it's literally an A to Z of answers, eyesight, babies, you name it. It's an ever-growing website. As the more fantastic articles or videos I find, I put them up there. And it's a very super useful resource. I used to do lots of consultations, but these days, if somebody wants to consult with me, I'll say, well, look, have you looked at Secret Health Club first? Because there's so much information there that, to save your time and your money, just go there. It's free if it needs to be, because it's not like the answers to most illnesses are difficult. The fact is that what it comes down to is there are only 3 things that can go wrong in the body, full stop. It can be toxic poisoning, it can be emotional damage, or it can be physical damage. Put another way, the only things that make us ill is stress, that one thing. So there are 3 types of stress. There's emotional stress. You were told something terrible as a child and you still believe it, or it could be that it's a chemical stress, you're eating or smoking something that's not good for you, or it could be, so you've got chemical stress, physical stress, you've hurt yourself, or you've damaged your spine. I mean, for me recently, I've been going to a chiropractor because I thought my spine was perfect, but I had a couple of health issues, and I realized, well, it's not nutrition, I'm good at that. So what else could it be? Well, it must be the spine, must be the nervous system. And after an x-ray, suddenly I saw all these injuries I got from skiing 40 years ago or whatever, and I realized that was impinging nerves, which were creating health problems. So I had a lot of adjustments. After 30 chiropractic adjustments and able to look at the x-rays and other tests to see if we were getting places, my spine straightened right up, And after 30 adjustments, suddenly I felt back to my old self, right? I've now had, I went over there for 10 days, went to visit Dr. John Bergman, who's in Huntington Beach. And I went to him because I've interviewed hundreds of people, health experts over the years, and I felt actually he's the best. He's my choice out of everybody I could possibly think of to go and see. And indeed, I just came back. I went for 10 days, spent 2 months there, which I really didn't expect. But 100 adjustments later, I'm a different person. So I'd recommend chiropractors, but they got to be good. And the questions you want to ask them are, do you adjust newborn babies? Do you work on post-surgery cases where the surgeons are putting iron rods or whatever it might be? Can you reverse arthritis? Questions like that. Can you reverse my issue, whatever that is? Because we can talk about this next time, but the whole view of, I've caught a disease is a myth. The idea that you've got an autoimmune problem, it's a myth. It's the doctors trying to fix a symptom without looking for the cause. And that's the key. What's the cause of your problem? Whatever it is, cancer, whatever it is, there's a cause. And doctors don't look for causes, just like they don't look for cures.
They look for money.
Well, money and treatments, preferably a treatment that you'll need.
Well, you know what sucks is that sometimes they actually they look for death, because some of these places are attached to the morgues too. They have funding in both areas, and so the whole system.
Well, what doctors do. Medicine is the study,
and the organ harvesting sucks.
Medicine is the investigation into illness and disease. A health practitioner is not looking at either of those things. They are looking at health, they're not looking at disease. That's not the issue. A lack of health is the issue. And I mean, that's the primary difference. Who do you want to go to? Somebody who studies disease or somebody who studies health? It's so obvious.
Right. Definitely. Who would these guys rather study for a longer, healthier life? Someone like Fauci, who definitely looks sick and old and doesn't really look really healthy himself, or these older people. Let's just say hypothetically, someone like Joe Rogan, who's older, but he's smart. He's constantly thinking forward and adapting to the newer sciences and healthier ways of life, eating better and away from all the toxic stuff. He's like, Joe Rogan's not a doctor, but he's a healthy guy, right? And so hypothetics, right? For everybody out there, you can see the difference of mentality of someone who's just there studying the disease and we understand it. The proof is in the pudding, they say.
Let's finish on my favorite definition of a word, and the word is diagnosis. So gnosis comes from the Greek, which means to know. Agnosis means not to know. So diagnosis is two people not knowing.
Interesting. I've totally forgot about gnosis, and now it's in diagnosis. I can't even now. I'm not going to be able to pronunciate it without thinking about it like that, because a lot of our words do come from ancient Latin roots and this Greek, and it's a mixture of a lot of stuff, Latin and different aspects of even it's related to ancient cultures in some essence. We're pulling out words, and our months are after the pagan gods. It's definitely a whole matrix, as they say. Spelling, cursive, cursing, it's part of the it's a magic spell.
You mentioned pharmakeia and poison and so on early on. Of course, there's a reason why doctors have to study to get their license for at least 5 years. It's exactly the same as James Bond, right? to get a license to kill, you need to have a license where you've practiced 5 years with giving poison without actually killing the person. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'll look forward to the next time.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. This was awesome, and there's been a lot of information in this. So everybody out there, go rewatch this multiple times. I'm gonna create clips out there, and appreciate you being here, man. For everybody out there, see you guys next time on the 509 Divine Pines podcast. Remember, like, subscribe, share, and if you guys could, donate to the Thanksgiving fund over at GoFundMe. Let me go ahead and just pull that up and put that on screen. I'm right here, might as well. So this week I am buying the meals, so I'm gonna make a project update on TikTok, and you guys are gonna love the work that me and the Yakima 420 Club are doing. It's awesome because there's a lot of people out there hurting and need meals. We already have a handful of people who need the meals and contacted us. With the help of McDonald's Farms, the cannabis guys, people, it's not on behalf of the farms itself, it's from the owner. So he's helped out, pitched in, and we're giving out because it's old school hip mentality, man. Like we're not in it for ourselves, like this new revolution of what Hollywood wants to promote. Just take everybody for their money with the drugs and the alcohol and like steal and rob and rock and roll. Like, nah, man. Like hippies grow and we give back, and so we're giving back, man. We're gonna give out turkey meals, ham meals, chicken meals, whatever we can get out there. Whatever's like not sold out already at these stores, Fiesta Foods, Costco, Safeway, wherever we can find these meals. Pre-made meals that are already made with rolls and pies and different things. And yeah, hey, go check that out. Here is the link. Go check the link. 1, 2, 3 in the chat right there. Just posted it. So that and yeah, thank you guys. My if you guys want to donate directly to the Cash App and have it that way, I can then fund it. All my donations are Cash App 509 Divine Pines, PayPal 509 Divine Pines, and Buy Me a Coffee at 509 Divine Pines. And all my other affiliates are down below. So if you look at the scroller, there's different affiliates. Down in the link below, there's different affiliates, all sorts of different things from WGG, Okazi Clothing, Shop C60, Boomer Boost, Divine Light Codes, Chemical Free Body, all sorts of things, man. Thank you guys. Be blessed. Be high. Clive, stick around.
you.